Hey everyone, this is Sam with Wrestling Overtime, and we're making it through. We are on episode 21, and I told you we're catching up. By March 1st, we're going to be going every day. We're going to be giving you news, we're going to give you reviews, we're going to give you highlights, rumors, anything the dirt sheets are saying. We're going to be going anywhere from, 3 to 5 minutes a day to up to an hour and a half, depending on how much news, how many reviews, what we've got going on. So this episode is going to be the AEW review on February the 5th of 2020, and it happened in Huntsville, Alabama. And let me tell you, I absolutely love AEW. I can't say enough good stuff about it, and I know that you guys get sick and you want me to pick it apart. It's so hard to pick apart. I just got done watching this episode on my DVR, and I'm telling you, it's probably the best episode of AEW that I've seen. I cannot imagine what it took for them to orchestrate this and have this run from basically the beginning to the end of this show. I absolutely loved it, and that's something we're going to talk about. Now, the middle parts, they dragged a little bit, and I am going to be a little bit negative about some of the things that happened in the middle. But I'll tell you what, AEW is coming on strong in the month of February. And like I said, this is the first week of February. This is February 15th, and they start off with basically a dream match. I never dreamed that Ortiz would take on Moxley, but that is exactly what happens. LAX, I know they're called the Proud and Power for now, but Santana and Ortiz, I've never seen them wrestle a singles match, ever. At one point, Tony says that Ortiz hasn't wrestled a singles match since August of 2016. And it had to be on the indies somewhere, because I have never seen it. And I need to go and maybe go on YouTube and look up some of his singles matches or something. But it really shocked me to hear them say that Jon Moxley was going to take him on. They start off the show talking about how it's 24 days away until Jon Moxley is taking on Chris Jericho for the title match at Revolution in Chicago. And so they hit Ortiz and Santana's music, and of course, here they come. I'm still not used to Ortiz's Afro natural hair yet. Still takes me a minute to kind of recognize who he is, and that he is part of LAX, because I'm used to him with the bandanas and but they come basically, stomping to the ring, and then, of course, Jericho's music hits. And Jake and Sammy are escorting him, and it almost acts like they're going to come down to the ring, but they actually go over to the announcer's table. We're walking over there. I can't believe it. I cannot imagine being in Huntsville tonight, because the crowd sings Jericho's song. And we heard it on Jericho's Cruise, the Rockin' Rager at Sea. And you almost expect that. That's Jericho's Cruise. But to hear it on TV, coming through loud and clear, they're panning the crowd, and you can see that they know all the words to Judas, and that they are singing along. And Jericho immediately starts talking to JR and Tony. It's almost like he ignores Excalibur. But he talks about how they have game plan for Moxley's eye and how they're going to take advantage of it. And basically, at the start of the match, I mean, they start. Ortiz is hitting him near the eye, is almost doing kicks or doing moves that would cause him to shake his eye, and then he takes and throws Moxley into the stairs towards his eye, and you can't really tell, even when they try to show it from a different angle, whether or not Moxley hit his head. Now, I know that I'm living in wrestling fake land, and that he really isn't going to hit his eye, that he's going to have his hand up. I understand that. But I want to see his head or his eye actually kind of go into the stairs, even if he's got a hand between them. So I was kind of watching that. I don't understand why Ortiz, though, makes these scratching moves on Moxley's back, and they say it's him acting like a tiger. So guys, you need to help me out. Write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com. Hit me up on Wrestling Overtime on Facebook or on Twitter. Tell me, what in the world is he doing with these tiger scratching maneuvers on his back? I've never really seen Ortiz act like that or do that. Was he known for that in the Indies or something like that? Loved that Moxley actually gets him in a figure four. I mean, who knew that Moxley had that in his arsenal? Every kid growing up does the figure four. From, the 70s, seeing it with Ric Flair, to anyone has ever copied that. I even got my cousins in the figure four. So everybody does it. But to see Moxley just pull that out of his arsenal, I was like, oh my gosh, that's that. And then, of course, Ortiz does a rake of his eye, and Jericho starts bragging about how he's basically been a mentor to Moxley his whole career, and how he brought him to AEW, and how he almost regrets it now. And then, of course, Santana tried to get involved, and Ortiz basically kind of takes him out and slips up, and Moxley wins. So then Santana jumps Moxley. So the Moxley does the paradigm shift on him, and then he gets out his car keys. And of course, if you didn't know what he was going to do when he got out those car keys, you haven't been paying attention to AEW, and you haven't been paying attention to Jon Moxley since he left the WWE. Loved it that, Sammy and Jericho are hollering, hey, those aren't yours. Those, you need to give those back. And they're hollering this from the announcer's table. And I'm thinking, guys, you need to get off your butts and get on down there. So they're basically hollering from the stage at Moxley, that he needs those and to give those back and everything. And you see Moxley basically yell right back at him, an eye for an eye. And then he takes and stabs Santana right in the eye, and then basically takes off. Of course, Sammy and Jericho and Jake and Ortiz and Santana are rolling basically around in the ring, and Moxley has the absolute best facials here. I mean, he's celebrating with the crowd as he goes up running through them. He is, I mean, you can tell it is just pure joy on his face that he has finally gotten one member of the inner circle back. And you see Jericho kind of not get all the way in the ring. He's standing, ringside, and he's on the steps, and he's just looking basically at how crazy Moxley is. And earlier in the match, I believe it was JR said that there was a fine line between insane and genius, and that he believes that Moxley may have crossed it. And maybe he has, but I am enjoying this. I know that there are a lot of people that are not wrestling fans that are like, what in the world is going on? How can Sam enjoy this kind of violence? How can anyone enjoy this kind of violence? I think it's because we haven't seen it in a while. I mean, we just haven't. We got to see some violence back in the 90s and early 2000s, but we have been in the PG era of WWE for so very long, and that I think many wrestling fans just kind of almost yearn for that. And so it was an unbelievable way to start the show. Now, I know that you can't have everyone on that high for, a good 2 hours or 2.5 hours. I went to an AEW live showing. It was our fourth one in my area, and you can't be that excited for 3.5 hours, because they're doing 2 hours of taping, but they're doing AEW Dark. You can't stay that excited for that long, so they have to kind of bring you down some, and that's kind of what they do with this next match. They bring out the best friends. And I have asked you guys to kind of explain the best friends to me, because I don't get them. I like Chucky. He's growing on me some. I don't like Trent. I think Trent is portraying maybe the arrogant, cocky one. I'm not real sure. I don't know their backstory. I don't know what they were like in the indies or anywhere else they wrestled. I love that Orange Cassidy is with them. I can't wait for an Orange Cassidy match. I have looked him up on YouTube. Cannot wait for an Orange Cassidy match. Don't really understand why he's with the best friends, though. Other than maybe he didn't have anywhere else to go. I don't know. So, of course, we have to wait through the commercial, and we see you. And I'm pretty excited until, I'm realizing, where's Christopher Daniels? I wanted to hear his promo. I wanted to see his Freddie Mercury microphone, and I wanted to hear him talk, and he's not there. And so it's really hard for me to get into this match. There's not a storyline. SCU just lost their tag belts to Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, but that's not enough for me to really want this match. I'm interested in, hey, are they down? Are they going to get beat a second time in a row? Does Orange Cassidy kind of get involved? Little things like that. But otherwise, I'm not really into this match. I feel like Chucky's not getting enough credit. I definitely think Scorpio Sky is a star just waiting to happen. I think everybody in wrestling can see that. His moves are just so explosive on his jumps. He is so athletic, and his charisma is through the roof. Whether he's speaking or he's doing movements in the ring, he's getting up on the ring post to urge the crowd on. Whatever, Scorpio Sky is just a star in the making. You had to love it when all four of them crashed, and all four of them are laying out by ringside, and Orange Cassidy has to go over and kind of look around and then lay down like they are. I had to mark out for that. I love Orange Cassidy. But I'm not understanding the whole best friends hugging thing. I don't get it. Anyone out there gonna help me with this? I don't get it. Trent, Chucky, if you're listening to this, tweet me. Explain this hugger thing that you got going on. This is kind of, I don't know, crazy. But anyway, SCU wins, and the Dark Order come out and they attack SCU and the Best Friends. And again, I hate the Dark Order. I don't understand them. I don't care who their leader is. The exalted one. Ooh, I don't care. I want them to go away. I think their masks are cheesy. They look like a 5-year-old made them in kindergarten class. And Evil Uno looks like he is a fat guy that was watching wrestling on TV one day on the couch and decided to get up and get 4 of his friends down the street and come crawling around. I don't know why these guys are putting up with this. I loved it when Orange Cassidy got into the ring. Of course, they have to offer him a mask, and he puts his hands up and is going to put them in his pocket and kick him. And I am excited. Well, no, they can't let him have his moment, and they have to, basically attack him. So then Christopher Daniels comes out, and I'm like, what? Number one, why did he not come out in the beginning with SCU? Why did he not talk? Why was he not involved in this match? Why was he not, talking Orange Cassidy into joining SCU? I don't know why he wasn't out there. Then the Dark Order comes out, and he doesn't immediately come out. He only comes out after a beatdown. And so, not making sense. Hey, AEW, you have this Jericho Moxley storyline that is going awesome. You have this Kenny Hangman storyline going awesome. You have this MJF Cody storyline going awesome. But I've got to tell you, this Dark Order garbage, the Nightmare, whatever they are, the Collective is garbage. The whole women's division is garbage. That part you got to get fixed. But you have enough great stuff that I am sticking around for 2 hours. I am excited, and I'm raring to go, because then you throw an MJF promo and how Cody, just wanted him to always stay behind him. how Cody wanted him to stay in the shadows, and so that every one of the 10 lashes that he's given Cody tonight will symbolize all the lies and empty promises that Cody ever made to MJF. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that's right. That's what this week's about. This week is about the lashes. I knew that when I turned it on. But I'm going to be honest with you. And Tony Khan, if you're listening, you need to have a grin from ear to ear. Because I'm telling you, Jericho and Moxley made me forget that tonight that Cody was getting 10 lashes. I forgot this started the stipulations. And so seeing this promo brought it all back to me. And how excited I was that Cody was taking on this challenge to get MJF at Revolution. But also how I'm dreading Cody getting these lashes, and how I'm wondering, oh my gosh, am I gonna cry? Because I'm telling you guys, for the last 2 years, I have been following Cody's story. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you are so tired of me talking about it. But I truly have felt for Cody. I feel like Cody and I have a lot going on in our lives in the same way. Thank God I'm not getting any lashes. But how he was overlooked, and how people didn't see in him what is truly in him, and how he had to give it all up and go take a chance on himself. He had to find his passion, how he had to go to the indies. He had to make his own mark. He had to meet people that were just as passionate as him, and how he created something quickly in AEW that could be his baby, and that he could mold and make how things used to be. And I am so excited to see Cody kind of get his comeuppance with MJF and really move this story along. And then they bring Taz. And I love Taz. Loved watching him wrestle in ECW. Loved listening to his podcast. And now they're showing him on TV. And he's talking about how Max is just taking this too far. I love how certain people call him Maxwell, or Max, or, Little Max, or something like that. That not everybody calls him MJF. But I love how Taz says, this is how far Cody is willing to go to get MJF in a match, is that he's willing to take these lashes. And like you can tell, I'm fired up, I'm excited, I'm raring to go. And then they've got to throw a women's match in here. Guys, I want to love AEW women's wrestling. I want to. I watch it. I cheer for it in WWE. I love watching them. There's quite a few new stars that I like. I like watching Rhea Ripley on NXT. For those of you who've been listening to the podcast, even though she's in some hot water, I'm a big fan of Tessa Blanchard. I believe AEW has to go get Tessa Blanchard. But I am so sick and tired of the women's division that they've got now. So they bring Britt Baker out, and I'm going to mispronounce her name, and I apologize. It's Yuka Sawazaki, I believe. I am sorry for mispronouncing that. It's just boring. The announcers did everything they could to keep my attention by telling the Britt Baker story, and they don't understand why she's acting like this, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But it was so hard to stay involved in this match. I know that Kenny Omega loves the Joshi wrestlers from Japan. I am sorry. They, to me, their movesets all look the same. Yes, they can do flippity-floppities all over the place. They look like gymnasts to me. They look like Olympic gymnasts. They all look like they're 4'8" and about 90 pounds. And I feel like Kenny Omega could carry about 4 of them out to the ring, lay them down or stack them up, and Rhea Ripley could take them and break them over her knee. There's nothing there. I wonder if I could break them over my knee. Not all 4 of them at once. I just wonder if I could break one of them over my knee. But, I mean, it is just so hard for me to believe that Britt Baker loses. And it is even harder for me to believe that Awesome Kong or Nyla Rose is not killing them. And I do mean literally killing them. I mean, it is only by them being professional wrestlers that they're really not. Kenny Omega, send them back to Japan and get some professional women's wrestlers. Please. You have totally destroyed this women's division. And it's just got to stop. Tony Khan, if you're listening to me, please take this over. Please, please, please get the Japanese wrestlers, send them back, get anyone that is under 5 foot, and if they don't weigh 110 pounds, send them away. I want to see more Bea Priestley. I want to see Chris Statlander. Even though she thinks she's an alien, I still want to see her. I want to see someone that has a clue what they're doing and looks like they can actually be doing it to someone. Anyway, Britt Baker gets the ring bell and nails her in the back. Then puts her jaw into the ring rope and kicks her, and they show broken teeth and blood, and then Baker puts her in the lockjaw. Great. I don't believe not a word of it. I don't believe not one action of it. I don't believe those were her teeth. I don't believe she was bleeding. I don't believe any of it. It was so botched. This Sasaki did not bleed immediately, did not pull the teeth out. They didn't go flying. She basically just lays them there on the mat so that the camera can get an awesome shot of it. I don't believe it for 1 second. It's worse than the Indies. At least the Indies practice their stuff and most of the time get it right. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, because now we're kind of in the middle and we're back on the roller coaster, because we're going to see an 8-man tag match. We're going to talk Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page versus the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers. Now, for those of you who've been following this podcast all along, I go back and forth on the Young Bucks. I really do. I'm on the fence about them. I know I shouldn't be. I know they're fan favorites. I know everybody loves them. I know they helped start AEW. I know that I need to really be cheering them on. But I am on the fence about them. I know I'm supposed to be cheering Kenny Omega on. I can't. Kenny Omega just doesn't do it for me. I don't know if it's because he's in charge of the women's division and I hate him so much, or I don't like his style. Maybe he wasn't billed right from the get-go. I didn't follow him in New Japan. So when he came to AEW as an executive vice president, I didn't care. I wasn't one of those on, in January 1st of 2019 or in February of 2019, standing up and cheering and saying, yay, Young Bucks, yay, Kenny Omega. I really wasn't. I didn't know them that well, and I can't get real excited about them. However, they have drew me in a little bit with this Hangman Page storyline. I am going to get into the Elite. I am going to be watching the Elite. That is probably actually going to be the next episode. I want to get into the Miz and Mrs., and so I am probably going to watch a couple episodes of it, and then I'm going to watch a couple episodes of Being the Elite and kind of review them together, because I don't understand the Being the Elite. I love the chant. I want to chant it when I'm in the arena. I want to be with them when they're wrestling in the arena, but on TV, I don't care. The Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny, I still don't understand. Maybe put them with the Dark Order. I don't really care. I think they're stupid. I think the whole Bunny outfit is stupid. But they have the Lucha Brothers out there. And yes, I know this sounds crazy. I know they're heels. I like the Lucha Brothers. I can't help it. Pentagon Jr., I really like him. Ray Phoenix Jr., I like him. I love their movesets. I love how they get into it, and I love how athletic they are. So I'm excited about this match. I like how basically Hangman Page comes down not with the Young Bucks and Omega. And he basically just kind of stomps to the ring. How, Hangman just acts like he's not interested. He's not really wanting to be there. But the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega come out to the Being Elite theme song. And how they're excited about the crowd and getting the crowd pumped up, and the Young Bucks, doing the money machine and getting all excited. And I love the story that they're telling with Hangman Page not wanting to mess with the Bucks. He's got his tag team championships with Kenny Omega. He has gold around his waist, and how he doesn't want to mess with him. He doesn't want to tag him in. He will only tag Kenny, and he's basically just walking away from their tags. He's saying, no, we're not playing this game. But I have to admit, I love when the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers are in the ring together. Their chemistry is amazing. They are unbelievable with each other. You can tell that they have wrestled so many times together. These guys may be the two best tag teams together as a four-man that I've ever seen. And yeah, I know that's saying a lot, but I can't help but think that maybe they are. I have been racking my brain, and I want to bring up the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express, and maybe they come close. But I think maybe when this is all said and done, the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks may go down as the best two tag teams to go up against each other. Now, I know some of you are going to write me at WrestlingOvertime@gmail.com, or you're going to hit me up on Wrestling Overtime on Twitter or Facebook, and you're going to say Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudley Boys. And to a point, I agree with you. If you want to go tables, ladders, and chairs, they did amazing things with weapons or objects. The Bucks and the Lucha Brothers just do it in the ring. And I know that they get a lot of their moves and everything from the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys. I know that. I know they get a lot of their inspiration from the Midnight Express and the Rock and Roll Express. So don't write me and say, hey, if it wasn't for those earlier teams, then the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers wouldn't be doing what they're doing. I totally agree with you. But I do think when it's all said and done, the chemistry that they have, it's just unreal. But anyway, Hangman kind of gets in there and gets himself into where Omega and the Bucks are knocked off, and he is getting the garbage basically beaten out of him. He crawls over and wants to make a tag, but it's only the Young Bucks there, and so he refuses to tag him. So Pentagon Jr. basically gets Phoenix to do a pile driver on him and pins him. And so this just continues this great storyline. The Young Bucks are yelling at Hangman, and Kenny, you see, actually shove him. And they're asking him what his deal is. Well, of course, Hangman's got to go drink beer with the fans while the Young Bucks and Kenny talk about it in the ring. You know, they're talking through things, and Hangman's just basically getting drunk with the fans. Do I like this part of the storyline? The adult in me says, yes, I want him to be a drunk. I want him to fall off the wagon. I want him to show up in the ring drunk. I want them to lose matches or lose the tag belts because he's too busy drinking beer. Now, for those of you who listen to my other podcast, it is a coaching podcast, and I am a basketball coach in the school system. Do I want him drinking beer with fans? No, that part of me doesn't. I don't want the young fans doing that. I don't want them looking up to Hangman Page. I mean, even to a point, JR says, talks about drinking and driving. So I'm kind of, torn here. Is it good entertainment? Yes. Do I want kids to do it? No. So, that's kind of where I stand with that. So, we get Tony Schiavone coming in the ring, going to interview Kenny Omega. But he's immediately interrupted on the LED screen by Pac, who says, hey, this was supposed to be a contract signing. And I'm thinking to myself, it was? And there's contracts laying on the table behind Pac. And he says, Omega, you didn't care that I basically beat Michael Nakazawa to death. You couldn't care less. Let's see if you care about Rio. And he says, Kenny, you can stop this at any time. All you have to do is say that you will take me on. You'll give me a rematch. So, as he takes one step towards Rio, Kenny says, you have it. You've got it. I'll take you on. And I love it. I loved Pac as Neville in WWE. Pac steps up and says, well, gee, I hope that, no one thought that I was actually going to put my hands on a woman. She is. And here comes Nyla Rose just charging through the curtain, and she takes out Riho. And Pac is just laughing. And it's setting up, Nyla Rose versus Riho. And I'm kind of excited about that. I'm hoping that Riho has to go on back to Japan. Love the next segment. I think the next segment is so cool. It's unbelievable. JR says, Darby Allin sent us a tape. And he says, we have no clue what is on the tape. Well, that fits Darby Allin and his character perfectly. We see Darby Allin choking. And we see the flashback of Sammy and Jericho holding the skateboard up against his throat and slamming his head, his neck, his throat into the skateboard. And him choking. And we see Darby basically get this crazed look in his eye, and he takes a flamethrower to this cutout of Sammy hugging Jericho. And it's awesome. I love that there's this side of Darby Allin that is a little bit babyface, but there's also this side of him that's not necessarily a heel, but just is a little bit crazy, where we know he could maybe snap. And I think that's great. Well, then we actually get the match that I've been waiting for. For about, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, we have been getting teased with this whole Kip Sabian being with Penelope Ford and Joey Janela, and this love triangle, and how Penelope used to be with Janela, but now she's with Kip Sabian. And I really didn't know that until the announcers told us, like I said, a couple weeks ago. But I've been kind of waiting for this. You've been seeing it on Twitter. You've been seeing, them doing different things on TV. And so I'm kind of excited when I hear this is going to be the match. I have been oddly fascinated with Kip Sabian since probably the summer of 2019. Probably with Double or Nothing. And Fyter Fest. Because he's different. His look is more like a preppy look, but he spoke at Fyter Fest and he has the British accent. And so that intrigued me a little bit. I thought, what are they going to do with this character? How are they going to develop him? I'm not sure that I can get into this whole super bad versus bad boy. I think that's kind of stupid. But since Janela was already known as the bad boy on the indies, and Kip Sabian wants to be super bad, then, hey, I guess I'll kind of go along with it. I kind of like Sabian's style and his character. Couldn't really care less about Penelope, however you say her name. Does she wrestle? I did like it when JR called her a Jezebel, and you kind of gotta love her when she took Janela's head and slammed it into the steps, and how he is being righteous. You gotta love good old JR when he's calling people Jezebels and he's getting fired up. But we have Penelope kiss Kip Sabian, and then Janela decides to take advantage of it and hit Kip, and instead, as Kip moves, he hits her and knocks her down, and so Kip gets to roll him up for the win, and they get to kiss, basically tease Janela. And great. I kind of hope that's over. I kind of think it's probably not. I think they're going to ride this one until Revolution. But I don't think it'll bother me. I don't think. But I do kind of hope it's over. Anyway, we have Jericho show up, and he talks about how awful it is for someone to have to be, how awful they would have to be, how evil they would have to be to try to ruin a man's eyesight, to take his livelihood away from him, to make him unemployable. Of course, Jericho forgets that he did the same thing to Moxley. But I loved that Santana immediately walks up and takes the mic, and he cuts an awesome promo on Moxley. That's really the first time that I've heard him do a great promo like that by himself. Usually it's him and Ortiz playing off of each other, and he did it all by himself, and he challenges him to an eye for an eye match. And I'm thinking in my head, what's an eye for an eye match? And I'm racking my brain. Has there ever been an eye for an eye match? When was that? When would that have happened? And who would it have been? And what would it have been the outcome? And I was hoping that JR would help me, because I always turn to Tony and JR for my history, and they're not helping me. So maybe there's never been an eye for an eye match. So I can't help but get excited for it. But then they immediately go to an interview with Hangman Page. And of course, like I said, I'm on the fence with it. I like him being a drunk, but I kind of don't. So he's sitting here drinking his beer, and the Young Bucks come up and ask, why didn't you make a tag? And, Hangman mumbles around that he tried. Well, come on, Hangman. We all know you did a bit more try than the Man in the Moon. But it's kind of funny that the Young Bucks are, pretty pissed off about this. And one of them says, what is your problem? And you see the other Young Buck take Hangman's beer and says he's pretty sure he knows exactly what the problem is. And then they go to a close-up of Hangman, and somehow he gets a pitcher of beer, and he drinks it, and you hear the fans cheer. Okay, it's time to step back. Time for me to pop my wrestling bubble. I have to call this is garbage. How do you get the beer? How do you get the pitcher? I mean, come on. Somebody had to crawl under that camera and hand him one, and that's ridiculous. You couldn't have him standing by a table. You couldn't have the interviewer hand him one. You couldn't have had a server walk by with a tray and him grabbing it off of that. Come on, AEW, you're better than this. You're not WWE. Don't make things magically appear out of thin air to, suit your story. Just don't. Fans, do not egg them on to be like WWE. However, they quickly cut away from that, and JR has to tell us what he has in store for us next week. And not only next week, but 2 weeks from now. And not only 2 weeks from now, but 3 weeks from now. Because then it's all leading up to 4 weeks from now. And 4 weeks from now is Revolution. So I love when they do this. This shows that AEW has a plan. They are making matches. They're going to move storylines along. They have a clue what they're doing. Hey, WWE, if you're listening, pay attention. They are following up on stuff, and they're making you want to come back next week. And the week after, and the week after, and the week after, and the week after. They are trying to get you involved because they're telling you next week, we're going to be in Austin, Texas, and we're going to have Nyla Rose versus Riho for the Women's Championship. We're going to have Omega and Hangman Page against SCU for the championship in the rematch. And we're going to have Moxley versus Santana in an eye for an eye match. And I'm thinking, WWE, why can you not do this? And I had to hit rewind on my DVR because I missed it. In 2 weeks, they're going to be in Atlanta. And they're going to have a tag team battle royal for the title shot at Revolution. And not only that, they're going to have the first ever steel cage match with Cody and Wardlow. And I'm like, yes! The first ever steel cage match is gonna be on TV. I don't have to pay for it on pay-per-view. Take that, WWE. And then JR adds, if Cody can make it through the 10 lashes. Well, I know I'm getting way too excited, but that kind of brings me down because I'm thinking, oh yeah, we've got that. We've got the 10 lashes coming. And then JR surprises us all and says in 3 weeks, they will be in Kansas City, Missouri, and Pac is taking on Kenny Omega in a 30-minute Iron Man match. And I'm thinking, WWE, you can't compete. So let me recap. Next week, we got 2 championship matches and Moxley versus Santana in an eye versus eye match. 2 weeks from now, we have a tag team battle royal and a steel cage match on regular TV. 3 weeks from now, we have a 30-minute Iron Man match on regular TV. Then they'll have a pay-per-view. If they're giving us all of that on regular TV, what in the world are they going to do for a pay-per-view? And I think that is what everyone watching AEW is thinking. Oh my gosh, what are they going to do next? So then they show Dustin's interview from earlier today where he looks straight in the camera and says, MJF, you don't know my brother. My brother Cody is a lot tougher than you think he is, and Cody will do this because the whole world is behind him. And I'm thinking, oh, please, Waterworks, do not come. Because I'm thinking, man, oh man, this is going to hurt. Because everybody says, hey, wrestling is fake. That is true. Wrestling is fake. The outcomes are predetermined. Everybody, when they walk through that curtain, already knows who's going to win. But people who are out there, I am not living in my wrestling bubble right now. I am dealing in reality. People seriously do get hurt in wrestling. When you see them smack, a lot of times they really are smacking. When you see them haul off and hit somebody, if you're close enough, a lot of times you can see them hauling off and hitting someone. Now, is it as hard as it looks? A lot of times, no. But they're still hitting somebody, and they're still hitting them in the face sometimes. And there is no way that they're able to fake these lashes. Is MJF gonna nail Cody? I don't know. I'm waiting to see that. I'm waiting to see, is this gonna be real? Is he gonna haul off and really hit him? Or are they gonna gimmick this somehow? Is there gonna be shenanigans somehow? But he's going to at least hit him once. If not 10 times. But he's going to at least hit him once. For real. Because they want the welts. They want actual red marks on Cody's back. Cody is as pale as I am. He is pale as pale can be. He is Casper the Friendly Ghost. So those marks are going to show up on him, and they want them to. So we see MJF and Wardlow come out. JR and Tony talk about how they've known Cody since he's a little baby, and how hard it is for them not to take sides, and how they try in all of their matches that they've called over the years not to take sides, and how they try to call things right down the middle, how they try to call things fairly, but because of MJF's attitude, they absolutely can't do it. That they just believe that MJF is basically evil, and that they've known Cody so long that they don't know that they can call this one down in the middle. But you can tell MJF is in an awesome mood. He is egging the crowd on. He is showing off his suit. He is excited, and you can tell it. But then Cody's music hits. And man, oh man, you can hear the crowd go silent. Cody's music, his pyro, him coming out is just awesome. For this moment, it is just unbelievably awesome. His suit is, classic. He is just showing what a class act he is. He's got the watch on. He's got the long suit. He looks unbelievable. And of course, MJF has to clap at him, and how he has to clap at the crowd and all of that. And then we see Cody have to take off his suit coat. And then AEW does something that was really, really, really smart. They wanted to show the moment of MJF and Cody interacting without a microphone. They wanted to show Cody taking off his tie and his shirt, and so they did it picture in picture during commercials, because they know no one is going to turn that away. No one is flipping channels. No one's going over to NXT to see what's going on over there. Everyone has DVR'd it and is going to watch NXT later. And everybody is watching Cody take off his shirt and his tie, and are they going to get into it? Of course, MJF has my belt is way too nice to touch you, Cody. So, you need to give me your belt. And, of course, Cody does. He gives his own belt for him to be lashed with. He is going to get lashed with his own belt. And Cody points to the ref and says, hey, you need to count these. I want them to only be 10 lashes. And of course, Cody turns around and holds his hands out, fist clench, and we see MJF take Cody's belt and snap it. Like all of us have done, to our friends, make it crack, and of course Cody jumps. And they have a good laugh. MJF and Wardlow are laughing at Cody jumping. And, of course, then he has to hit him. And it's the first hit. And MJF makes a show of taking off his jacket. And then we see the Butcher, the Blade, the Bunny, Kip Sabian, and all of them parading themselves out, because they want to get a closer look at this. We see the second hit. And afterwards, we see Cody turn to MJF like he wants to hit him. And, of course, MJF has to run his mouth and say, hit me. I dare you. Hit me. So Cody turns back around, and on the third hit, Cody hits his knees. And you see some pain cross Cody's face, but they quickly move the camera because Arn Anderson is coming out. And Arn Anderson goes to where Cody is on his knees, and you can tell he is encouraging him. He's having him trying to get up. And we hear MJF say, you can't help him now, old man. You can't help him now. And we see MJF take off his shirt. Fourth hit, we see Cody back on his knees. Fifth hit, we see Cody pop up, and he's trying to pump himself up. He's trying to get the crowd involved, and we see Dustin come out. And this is where emotions hit me, because you see his brother come out, and his brother says, I'll take the rest of them for him. And MJF says, yeah, it doesn't work like that. They show Cody with tears in his eyes. And they show his back. And you can see the red marks. You can see the red welts starting. And he turns around and again gives his back to MJF. And MJF hits him twice. Number 6 and number 7 come boom, boom. And Cody basically, hits his knees again, and MJF is yelling at him, "You quit. You've got to quit. You might as well just quit now." And you see the Young Bucks come out. So you've got Arn Anderson, you've got his brother Dustin, you've got the Young Bucks telling him, "You can do it." And he hits him the 8th time. This time the camera gets a great shot when Cody's on his knees, and you can see red marks all over his back, different places. You can see the starts of the welts. And then you see Wardlow ask for the belt. And they inform us that Wardlow's 270 pounds. And the 9th hit that Wardlow delivers, I thought I was going to cry, because I could feel it through the TV. I could feel Wardlow just step in, and there's not a doubt in my mind that he hit him with a shoot blow, a real blow. And Cody falls face first, basically, on the mat. And you see Brandy come out. Now, this is not Brandy from her Nightmare Collective. This is not evil Brandy. This is Brandy, the babyface Brandy. This is Brandy, Cody's wife. This is the Brandy that you see on Instagram with him at Disneyland. This is the Brandy you see riding the Millennium Falcon with him, yelling at stormtroopers with him. And she comes down and grabs Cody and says, "Just one more. Just one more." We basically see Cody and Brandy lock eyes. And as Cody stands up, right near Brandy, MJF takes and hits him with number 10 right across the chest. And it's dead across the chest. You see Dustin coming in as he's swinging. And MJF is absolutely pissed, beyond pissed, that Cody has taken 10 lashes and gotten his steel cage match with Wardlow. And he low blows Cody right then and there, and him and Wardlow take off running as the Young Bucks and Arn Anderson and Brandy come to Cody's rescue. And that's how they end the show. Well, WWE, I have news for you. You haven't did anything that good in 4 or 5 years. And I don't know if you can. Guys, I don't know what else to say other than I will talk to you real soon, because that was an awesome show.